Hey guitar players, it's Nate here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the classic song The Wheels
Nate.
on the Bus.
I find your lack of prog disturbing. This is my week and my show.
No, you cannot do that. You cannot do this to my channel. I've been doing this for 10 years. I deserve some respect.
I don't even know how much cheese that was. Hey guys, Mike with Become the Night here, filling in for Nate this week on GuitarLessons.com. For those of you who aren't familiar with my content, I talk a lot about progressive rock and progressive metal. I'm a huge fan of Dream Theater. One question that a lot of my audience asks me is how do they learn to sound more proggy? How do they further capture that sound? Now, while prog falls under a really large umbrella, there are some very simple and effective things that you can do to sound a lot more proggy. Today's lesson, you do not need any music theory background in order to implement these today. The only thing that you need to know is a power chord. All a power chord is are 3 strings and 2 frets. Simple enough. Have you ever thought of just changing one of the frets? For example, the notes in a power chord are very harmonious. All of their overtones work very well together. Some of them are the same. That's why these 3 notes together sound so good and are all over music. But if you move one slightly away, you have a very dissonant sound. A lot of prog uses dissonance to its advantage. It adds a lot of color to something that is very smooth and almost, you would say, possibly too perfect. It makes it ugly, in which case you can actually make it more unique. As with everything in this video, I highly encourage you to experiment. This exercise is very much about experimentation to see what you can come up with. Here's a couple of the ones that I came up with. Very simple. Yes, all of these chords do actually have names. I'm not going to tell you what those are. I'm going to pretend not only do you have no music theory background, but you don't even need it for this exercise. Now we've come up with all these weird chords. How do we actually use them so that they sound good together? One of the most common tools for changing chords in a chord progression is using same notes. It could take a potentially really weird chord change and make it sound at least somewhat comfortable just by having literally the same fret and string in one chord to another that could be completely different shapes, be in completely different keys. Here's a very simple example using the exact same 3-note shape, just moving up the fretboard. Now, while that was pretty cool, it feels like, okay, like where is this going? So you have to start using your ingenuity. Use some different shapes, work out to see what you feel is best. Another extremely useful songwriting technique, actually from 21st century contemporary classical music, is called planing. Planing is simply taking the exact same chord shape and voicing and simply moving it up or down by 1 fret. And you continually do this motion. Now, I don't remember if it's technically planing or not, but sometimes I like to move 2 frets and continue that motion. Here's an example. Planing in conjunction with that very mystical, weird chord kind of gives you this feeling of we're just kind of floating along. We're not sure where we're gonna stop. Another fantastic use for planing is this particular chord shape moving up or down in half steps. It's extremely effective. Now, I get asked by my audience a lot how you play in different time signatures other than 4/4. I guess technically this is the only thing we will talk about theory today. If you have a riff that you like but you feel like it needs a little bit more spice of life, a little bit more rhythm, treat this thing like a bad Tinder date and just cut it short. For example, here's this riff in this rhythm in 4/4. Simply by cutting off that last beat, depending on how you want to count that beat, you can turn it from something that's relaxed into something that's, wow, it's taken me off guard a little bit. And in the second turnaround, I'll even go one step further and alternate between chopping off 2 beats and 1 beat. My last tip for you today is listen and learn. This is probably the hardest tip in this video. If there is a band or an artist that you want to sound more like, listen to more of their music and listen to it often. Having good musical recall and really burning these notes and these rhythms into your brain is the best way that you're going to see that come out on your instrument. And go ahead and try and learn some of their stuff. A large part of the composition process for a lot of guitar players is muscle memory. If you incorporate their style of writing and playing into your muscle memory, it will more naturally show itself in your own writing. So of these weird chords that we made out of power chords, what is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this lesson, drop a like. If you didn't like this lesson, drop a like. I just think it's hilarious that you thought you had an option here. Also, if you'd like to see more of my content, you can go to Become the Knight on YouTube. I also am Become the Knight on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Become the Knight. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on my channel, on here. We'll see how it goes. Huge thanks to GuitarLessons.com and the Nate for letting me take this one this week. Rock on!